Hey there, guys. We've got news for Global on December 1st, and this week the news is very minor. There's not much of it, so I decided to just fly this one solo. I'm not going to bring a guest in because there's not really a whole lot to discuss in this video. The only thing we're getting this week is Tyvis and Yish, the duo unit. So this is a tag teaming physical unit from JP. They are not a premium unit. The banner is pretty typical format. And the unit is not getting upgrades. And you kind of know what that means on Global. A JP unit that isn't getting upgrades is, for the most part, not going to really make a big splash and not be very relevant. And that's kind of, in my opinion, where we're at with Tyvis and Yish. So they're a super limit burst unit. Their STMR is another two-handed greatsword because, we don't have 75 other greatswords already available. Here's another one. The Trust Mastery is a pretty generic killer. It's not that special. It's machine killer with 50 attack power. That's kind of it. And that's like the unit. So we're going to pop over to the wiki page from the JP server to look at the unit. So this is, like I said, a tag chaining unit. He has a 150 fire amplify. And that's not really anything special because, like I mentioned in the past, all DPS units going forward have a 150 amplify. If you're a damage dealer, you get a 150 amplify. It's just the standard these days, as we move forward. So they have it. They're all, every unit's going to have it as we go. So yeah. They can imbue themselves with fire or ice, but really only fire because the 150 amp is only for fire. They do not have a good ice amplify, just a 30%, which is really bad. Yeah, and as you can see from their kit, they don't really have a kit. They just deal damage and tag chain, which is kind of whatever. And that's the whole kit. So they do have a field. I guess I'll mention that. On the regular LB, they've got a 35 fire and ice imperil field, which is decent. Not the highest, but it is pretty good. Actually, it might be I think it's tied for kid for fire, and then ice is... Actually, it is the highest. There you go. It actually is the highest fire and ice imperil field, so I made a mistake there. There you go. And their SLB is a 250x modifier, which is pretty terrible. Now, that does get boosted by these two modifiers. These both stack. 55 and 55, you can boost them together to 110. That brings the LB to 360. And then if you own Titus's STMR, that brings it to 460. That's the whole unit. That's the whole kit. They also have a katana and greatsword imperil. So yeah, a 460 modifier LB tag chaining DPS. That's the entire unit. Not super great. It's all they do. If you're a big fan of the unit, sure, go for it. But they're not really that good, in my opinion. Let's pop over to like a damage spreadsheet. So I updated it for Tyvis and Yish, and you can see they fall around right here, which is pretty low for Global. Now, I know on the JP server, when they came out, they were pretty decent because JP didn't have all these Global units. JP only had like Sabin and New Guardian Titus. All the rest of the stuff up here is like Global exclusive things. Like Van Harma is only this high because of Sylvie. There is no 100 amplify for Earth, or there wasn't in JP for Van Harma, because he was actually really low in JP. Lynx and Surge are Global buffed. Regina is like a weird calculation because it's multiple units, not really one unit. Titus, was the highest. He is premium. And then all this up here, the Dazzling Demoness card, Meteor users, and then the Near units. So yeah, Tyvis and Yish on Global, approximate burst damage is about 181 billion, as opposed to like the Near units at 270 or above. So, or Golbez, doing like 270 as well. So, if you really want to pull for Tyvis and Yish, like I said, they do have a decent field. Their damage is pretty unremarkable. They don't have a kit. They just deal damage. I mean, that being said, it's kind of the same thing as like 2B. 2B doesn't really do anything either except deal damage, and A2. But, they deal a lot of damage. Tyvis and Yish do not deal a lot of damage. So that's the unit. As far as the card, no flat stats. That's all you got to say. Has no flat stats. The card is bad. Let's move on. The event is a story event. Enjoy a special story about Tyvis. You can do the story, but here's the most interesting thing of the week. We're getting 50 shards of a Season 4 unit of your choice, including Tyvis, the premium version. From this list, pick someone that you still need shards for. If you don't have Tyvis to EX3, he might be worth considering. It's up to you, though. Overall, none of these units are all that great. Van Harma, I don't think there's an Earth Dark Visions coming up, so he's not going to see any use. Or maybe there is. I'd have to check. There actually might be. I don't know. Ihana has good killers. Nellic and Roos are dead in the water at this point. Ilmateel has good killers. Cal is terrible. Yish is terrible on global. Javi is like extremely niche uses, but for the most part bad. Leftia, her EX level doesn't matter. All you're bringing her for is the 100 Amplify, and she gets it from an item at EX0. Tulian doesn't matter anymore. And then Tyvis, whatever. Just, go ahead and pick whichever of these units you personally need more shards for. It is a story event, so you can check out the story about Omnibus and all that stuff. There's 2 EX stages. One of them is for Mastery Crowns. One of them is for a daily fight. The daily fight, obviously very easy. The Master Crown fight, I don't remember it from JP, but as usual, we'll do a guide with that when it comes on Thursday. And that's it. That's the entirety of the week. Things that are missing that are notable are the Season 4 story update. We're expected to get the next update to the main story. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the actual main campaign story. The update is, I guess, not coming this month. I don't know. But that's it. That is the entirety of the week, and that's why I didn't really want to, ask a guest to join me, because we'd have nothing to talk about really. And shortest news video ever. Even though I spent, five or so minutes going over Tyvis and Yish's kit just to extend this video, there's nothing more to say. They deal fire damage. It's low damage in comparison to our top global units, and that is the end of it. Their STMR is generic. Their TMR is bad. Their card is bad. If you want to go for it, I wish you all the best of luck, but I would recommend we hold off for now. But as always, make your own decision, because if you see this guy on like the rank 1 Dark Visions team next month, don't blame me, because that is a whole meta of its own. Anyway, see you next time.